Radcliffe, presumably you are familiar with Miriam's potty mouth because... are you? Because you were in Harry Potter, but did you actually work together?
Yeah.
Yes, we
absolutely.
did.
But I don't remember. I've been told there was a swear jar involved on set, but I can't remember that. I don't even remember you swearing a lot in front of...
I was probably careful when it was you, but when, you know, with the other kids, I didn't bother.
He's the lead. Yeah.
I was just talking backstage, if that's what you call that funny little grubby area. And apparently it's 20 years since Harry Potter came out.
Since we started filming the first
one.
And your balls have dropped since then, I can tell you that.
It's a relief to us all.
I hope so.
Yeah, because they're just wee kids then.
We get it, yes.
It's just, yeah.
But it's interesting because Professor Sprout, which, you know, you were in the second film and the last film.
Yeah, I should have been in all of them.
Yes.
That was a grave oversight, and I'm holding you responsible.
I told them.
But anyway, it was wonderful to be in the two that I was in, and I'm very proud of it.
But you do get recognised as Professor Sprout.
I do. I mean, I think I've changed since then, but people do recognise me. And funnily enough, in Lithuania,
Lithuania?
Have you come just to see Professor Sprout?
I don't think so.
Are the films called Professor Sprout and the Deathly Hallows?
No, but I was mobbed in Lithuania. Maybe because I was Jewish, I don't know. I'm the only one left.
Sorry.
Stop cheering now. But I just think that's incredible. Like, you're being mobbed in Lithuania and you were Professor Sprout. Imagine being this guy.
I know. What was it like?
I mean, it's weird and funny, and I think the best way to see it always was, like, weird and funny, because you know, and it ebbs and flows, and sometimes it's in your life a lot, and sometimes it's not in terms of getting recognised, and there's been lots of very odd moments. I was chased out of a science museum in Spain, and I was just like... But it was sort of fine, because everything was in Spanish there, and I couldn't understand anything inside, so it was time to leave anyway.
Yes.
And then, but yeah.
But someone thought you were something else in New York recently.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Actually, this did not come up with it. Yeah. So I did recently. So me and my girlfriend fostered a dog, and we sort of got our friends to adopt it. This isn't unnecessary for the story. There's a dog with me. I was on the street with this dog, and my girlfriend was in the shop, and so and it was very cold. And I got my hoodie and my fleece hoodie, and then a big coat over that. And the dog was really cold, so I was like, oh, I'll just kneel by you and, like, stroke you and, like, try and keep you warm. And then I saw this guy, like, look up at me, like, 10 yards away and smile. And I was like, yeah, and just carried on. And then he walked past me, and he came back, like, he got about 5 steps past me, and then just reappeared with a $5 bill over my shoulder and just went, get yourself a coffee, mate. And I really, like, my girlfriend came out, and I was like, I don't think I'm wearing nice clothes, I thought, like I don't know, yeah, so I was very much, that was a wake-up call. Apparently, I have to maybe, you know...
Was your dog on a string?
No. I do maintain, because the person that owns the dog has also been mistaken for a homeless person with this dog. I think the dog just looks very cold and sweet and vulnerable.
Blame the dog.
No, I know. Yeah,
the dog looks cold.
You know, just shivers and just little
and hungry.
Yeah. And,
Rafe, you hate prosthetics and things, don't you?
I don't love them, no.
But don't you, like, you choose jobs to avoid them?
After Voldemort, I did. I have, yeah.
Because how much of that is prosthetics on Voldemort?
Actually, to be honest, on Voldemort, not so much. A lot of painting and...
Oi, oi, oi.
Very little, actually.
Teeth, the eyes...
Yeah, it's more or less. I see what you mean, yeah.
Latex around the eyes.
They shave the beard off, right? Yeah.
It's a good look.
But wasn't there a moment when you kind of knew the Voldemort look was working, when you were on set? And you met her?
Yeah, I passed by the script supervisor, had a little boy who was on set.
His son, maybe?
Her son, I think, for 5 years old. Anyway, I passed by this little child. I just looked at this boy. He just burst into tears.
Oh.
The costume must have helped as well, because it's quite frightening.
The costumes actually wasn't that. It was just a lot of flowing, silky stuff that I kept tripping over. And I had these tights on underneath. And they were like ladies' tights.
And they ripped in the middle.
Can I just say?
Chef came out.
No, they didn't rip.
I like that they were like ladies' tights. Are there other sorts of tights?
Well, they're not the sort of tights you wear at the RSC.
Oh, OK. But you did have a problem
No,
with
what happened was that the tights used to work their way down, so the gusset of the tight was sort of around my knees. So I couldn't walk as elegantly as I would like as Voldemort. So eventually then I said to the dresser, he's called Neil, he's very sweet. He always had his head up my skirt, trying to adjust things. And I said, would he mind cutting them off so I had a garter belt? So for most of Harry Potter, underneath the robes, I have very nice garter belts.
You spoilt it for everyone now. Now, this is an odd thing, the way that characters come back. Dolores Umbridge, what is the connection between Dolores Umbridge in Harry Potter and coronavirus?
You tell me. Because I don't do social media or anything, so I have no idea what's going on.
Well, on Twitter, there's lots of these tweets. If we followed Dolores Umbridge's proclamations, nobody would get coronavirus. Did she bring in social distancing? Did she invent it?
Yes, absolutely she did. And all for the better, I feel, yeah.
Coronavirus is the Dolores Umbridge of the world right now. Also, if coronavirus had a name, it would be Dolores Umbridge.
Oh, oh gosh, OK. I'm going to keep a low profile on that.
Actually, social distancing for you, as Dolores Umbridge, do people kind of scatter out of your way in supermarkets anyway?
They absolutely do anyway. So I've never touched anyone in the streets when I've been walking around.
I don't know. You've had experience of playing lots of real people over the years. I mean, you played Princess Margaret, Elizabeth Taylor. Do you look at footage or do you get into them other ways?
Oh, no, well, it depends. I think I do everything. I read about it. I'm a sort of whore for doing... I watch as much, I read as much, I talk to people. If the person's incredibly well-known, you kind of... The best thing to go is to go to the friends who really knew the person, I think. You know, and then you can get their take, because often... If you're playing a well-known person, you're just going to play what you already know. Yeah. But you want to go beyond that, and then... so I just basically try to get every single... I overdo it, because then I get completely confused. And then it's like, oh, God, and overwhelmed, and then I've got no idea what to play. And then bit by bit... well, what was great was that he wrote it. So, you know, the best thing, you just phone up the writer, because he's already got her inside his brilliant head. Yeah. And so I could just phone him. But we did speak to lots of writers. But what is that? I'm nervous of asking you this. But what...
No, please don't be.
OK.
Because I will answer.
I know, that's what makes me nervous. OK. What is the story about you meeting an American man in Cambridge?
When I was a student?
Yes.
Yeah. That was before I was a lesbian. I was just... I was sorting myself out. Yes. And, as you do, at university. And I was on my bike, because we cycled.
Over the cobbles, I would imagine.
Dyke on a bike, and... and we stopped at the traffic lights. And I looked to the left or the right, whatever it was, and there was a car, an open car, with an American soldier inside. And something crazy took hold of me then. You know that feeling.
I've got it right now.
And I said, would you like to follow me to my college and I'll suck you off?
You knew you recognised it from somewhere.
Exactly. I was still in knee pants at the time. Anyway, go ahead. Finish that story.
I think we know what happened. Right.
The really interesting thing was that he afterwards, and I should explain, I thought I was being a good girl because a bad girl would have had intercourse.
With a random stranger from the street. For sure.
Well, I still think it was the right thing to do.
I'm sure he felt the same way.
Anyway, after it was all over, he said, could I come back next week? Because I've got some friends here.
I'd like to be on one of your shows that will actually air.
All these big franchises, like you've been in Harry Potter, Star Wars, you've been in movies like The Revenant, but apparently when you go back to Ireland, people only want to talk to you about one thing.
Yeah, it's a kind of a funny one. When I was in my 20s, I did like a sketch show in Ireland called Your Bad Self for the national public, like the broadcaster there, RTE. And I wrote sketches with my friend Michael, and we did the sketches, and that's kind of what we did.
Sketches?
Yeah, but there was this one sketch that I did that really stuck around. Like, nobody watched the show, it felt like, at the time. But this one sketch just seems to do the rounds. And people stop me about it all the time in really awful ways. But the sketch was basically, it's a guy with all his friends in a car, and they're going to a concert, and he's drank too much lemonade. He's like, you need to pull over, I need to go to the toilet, will you please pull over? And they're saying, just go in a bottle, you can just go in a bottle. And he's like, no, and I say, OK, fine. So I say fine, and then I do a poo in a bottle. So it turns out he needed to do it. It turns out he needed to do a poo. And so...
It's a good sketch.
It's a good sketch. In Ireland, like, people stop me about that all the time. And it's so weird. You're on a night out, and you hear, like, hey, Domhnall! And you turn around, and it's a woman, weird, and she's got, like, a bottle of Heineken. She's like, look, I don't want to... It's like... It's really... And I'm like, I was in The Revenant, God damn it! Yeah.
I think, is this a tip for... This is... Don't worry, it's not your food.
Yeah.
It's a nice laugh on the face. It's like, you guys have a problem? Like,
Yeah. I love it. He thought it was cool.
And now, before we talk about another thing, very quickly, Daniel Radcliffe, time traveller. We've had this on the show before.
Right, yes.
I don't know if you're familiar with this. Daniel Radcliffe, time traveller. This is the collection so far.
Right.
Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe.
Lady from the past.
And this is my favourite one.
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I look like a lot of old women in the past.
But
it's very rarely men or boys.
About 2 days ago, someone found another one.
Oh, good.
This is a young lady in 1922. There she is.
It is just, I don't, these are all my past lives, and I was like a sort of a slightly depressed lady in a lot of them. Yeah.
If you think you've spotted Daniel Radcliffe in a former life, do get in touch. I heard you talking on a show where you met Donald Trump.
Yes,
but not particularly because you wanted to.
No, I was like, oh my God, I love real estate. I have to go meet him when I was really young. No, I was like 11 or 12, and I was going. It was when we were doing press for the first Potter movie, and they took us to New York, and it was the first time doing sort of the morning shows in New York. And I was about to go on the Today Show. I've never been on sort of American sort of morning TV before, and I was quite nervous. And Donald Trump had also been on that day, and so that's Donald Trump for those of you who have blissfully forgotten what he looked like. But then they sort of walked me over to him because clearly they were like, you know, somebody said, hey, you want to meet the kid who plays Harry Potter? And he was like, sure. I don't know. Conversation went. But they sort of walked me over to him, and he said, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And I said, nice to meet you. And he said, how are you? And I said, I'm quite nervous. I've never been on TV before. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And he brilliantly just said, you just tell them you met Mr. Trump. To me, that's like, that is the Everest of self-confidence. Like, imagine if I'd just been to you, like, when you go on that show, just talk about me. Don't even talk about your stuff.
Just look at the two Americans, and we're both just like...
Like, sad. Yeah, then you're really sad.
I know, you're all laughing.
And also this is kind of the problem. Because you do end up talking about him.
Yeah.
And, you know, we should be talking about the other people. Because I know you're...
Well, I mean, the beauty of the whole thing is you have to, because he just doesn't talk about himself. You feel like you have to.
Yeah, you got it.
Someone promote this guy.
Miriam Margolyes, things happen to you. Like, is it your house near Dover?
Oh, yes. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I do rent my house. And if you're interested...
To other people. I mean, she
yes,
owns
to other people. And it's the nearest house to France, which is very important in this story. And it's £425 a week, and it sleeps 6 people for 7 nights. It's clean.
Is there a cleaner?
Yes, yes. Anyway, one day I got a call from the police, and they said, "Are you the owner of the gun emplacement?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Are you aware that it's been used as a drop for criminals to get rid of their drugs, or, you know, it's a drug drop." I believe that's the phrase. And I said, "Well, of course I didn't know. What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, people have rented it. They were a gang from Liverpool, I think. And they took my house and they dropped the drugs in the bay, and there was a helicopter that came on the roof. It's a flat roof, you see. And they had cocaine. They had something like 13 million pounds worth of...
What? No, it wasn't like a little thing. This was a massive...
What? 13 million...
Jesus Christ.
Of cocaine. I've never taken anything.
No, that was like wholesale.
Oh, wholesale? Yeah. Listen, it's wholesale, of course. Well, of course, I was horrified, because I didn't know. I mean, I don't have anything to do with the people that rent it. I just take the money, you know. And I could get more for it, because it's really lovely, actually. But what was upsetting to me was when it was reported, of course, in the Daily Mail, all the people online said, "Oh, she must be in it. You know, she's part of the gang."
Oh,
what?
yeah.
And they were calling me Miriam Escobar.
We know, Daniel Radcliffe, you have a reputation of being lovely to fans. You're very sweet. You give your time very freely to them. But I read with interest that you are starting to toughen up now. You're being a little more discerning with your fans.
Daniel? What do you mean?
Well, wasn't there, like, you were being generally nice, but you were the friend, and she kind of went, you know that...
Oh, yes, right. Well, yeah. Well, because I think when you, like, start acting at a young age, people expect you to be a total dick all the time, and that's the kind of the expectation that you sort of always find yourself coming up against. Yeah. And so I think all my life I've, like, been really, like, worked hard to not be that and to be, like, as far away from that as possible. But that has sort of sometimes meant that, like, you can be really rude to me, kind of, and I'll just be like, yeah, fine. I'll just be like, I won't really, like, notice that you've been rude. And sometimes, like, people will come up, and, like, 99% of the time when people come up to you and ask you for something on the street, they are really very nice. And then just occasionally, like, someone will come up and somebody said, "Can I get a picture with you?" And I just, you know, just saying words, not meaning anything by it. I just said, yeah, of course, if you want to. And she just went, "Well, I wouldn't have asked if I didn't want to." I was like, and of course I was like, "Oh, no, of course you wouldn't have. Silly of me. Come here." And then, like, she left, and my girlfriend was with me, just like, "That girl was a dick to you. Like, you don't need to, like, you need..." So she's given me, like, a little bit of sense of, like, you can judge that. Not that I'm, like, a dick back now or anything.
No,
I just don't...
You don't need to be that. But apparently Rupert Grint's even worse than you.
Rupert, I don't know the details of this at all, but Rupert ended up at somebody's house one night, just from, like, continuing to say yes to things. And do you want to do that? Do you want to do that? And Rupert's like, yeah,
We've all been there.
Again, I feel bad saying this because I feel like someone's going to take advantage of that and just, like, ask him to, you know, he's going to be, like, the new Manchurian candidate or something.
Because sometimes people come up to you and they don't mean to be rude, but they can be quite rude, can't they?
Oh, yeah. I had at the premiere of, was it Suffragette? My wife's just been in a film, and I thought if anybody calls out my name, I'll go and sign autographs. And as it happened, a few people signed, and I did that. And so this woman was screaming. She was, James, sign my thing, sign my thing. And I came over and she went, "Oh, thank you. I'm a really big fan of some I think, yeah. Thank you. I'll sign some of your posters. But that was a weird... And people are trying to be nice. They're trying to be, you know,
I think sometimes as well there's a thing that people do where they like... And it is very particular, particularly like young men with me want to do a thing where they want me to know that they don't give a shit about me, like, before they start asking for something. So they'll be like, didn't really like the Harry Potter movies, but can you sign this? And I was like, don't do that. Just say a nice thing. It's so easy.
I had one happen really recently at a fancy dress party where, and this is weird, right? Do you know that thing where some people make a list of famous people that they're allowed to have sex with if they meet them?
Oh, the free pass.
The free pass, right?
Yeah.
She called it an allowance. And I was like, what, like pocket money? How are you going to spend me? And so I met her and her fella, and then she came up and said, afterwards, she went, so you're my allowance? And I was like, I beg your, excuse me? And she went, you know, he's cool with it, and you're my thing. And I was like,
He's not cool with it, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, that's a whole other story. Yeah. And I was really sort of like taken aback by it, and I was like, I'm married, and thank you very much, it's very, very nice of you. And then she said this thing that was like, it was meant as a compliment, and she was trying to get me to do stuff, but it was still really backhanded. And she went, because, you know, a lot of girls would be after somebody like Channing Tatum. I was like, do you know what? You're not getting it.
I know that. Achievable goals.
What's going on? We should probably address my hair, yeah. Yes. Yeah, this is what my head looks like now, which I'm seeing on a screen for the first time.
Don't look.
I'm filming Frankenstein at the moment, and I'm playing Igor, and this is what Igor's hair looks like.
But that's not your hair, is it?
No, it's extensions.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mary, look at Mary, she's all over it like a rat. She's in there. She was grooming you like a monkey. She was like, You did
have a little play around backstage, actually.
Can we change the subject, please?
We can't stop talking about your career without mentioning Harry Potter, because you were lots of different... You've got kind of different people come up and approach you after Harry Potter.
That, I said, people, you know, they're funny because they actually get really scared. In fact, I was walking down Hampstead Street and somebody actually just screamed. You know, really going adult. They just like went, ah! You know, and it's just like, really, really scared. And you go... And then there are young children who are scared of me. Yeah, they're just scared of me. Between that and the red, because sometimes it's quite useful. I've got a wand at home, so when Billy brings, my son, he brings kids who I don't particularly like, I just take the wand out. Or they're not being particularly good, you know, take the wand out and they suddenly, you know.
At Halloween, presumably trick-or-treating, people just run away from your house screaming. So good! It was amazing!
It's the one time we don't have to dress up, and we just sort of blend in. So,
I feel as though I ought to just...
I know, you've got to pull away.
That's what he looks like.
It's like trying to talk to Oz. Like
It's very soft, isn't it?
Thank you. It's real dead human beings' hair.
Is it yours?
No, it's from I assume a dead person or a person that donated their hair.
Well, somebody donated their hair. Someone who's had their hair cut off.
Well,
yes. It was found on a floor. No, did you see Mamma Mia? He was very good in Mamma Mia. Did you see that?
That was a dreadful film. Did you think that was a good film?
Can't possibly say that.
I'm talking about the explicit content of 50 Shades and, you know, the things, but nothing that Julie Walters hasn't seen.
I beg your pardon.
No, because...
You're intimating.
Well, no, personal services.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, personal services. It's the top of everyone's list. It really is. No, because it was really ahead of its time. It had all this stuff in there, all the fetishes.
Oh, yeah, no, old Cynthia. It was about Cynthia Payne, the madam. And, yeah, she'd seen it all. And most of it wasn't to do with sex. It was to do with sort of role play. First time I met her, I was in a sort of shishi restaurant in Soho, really quiet, with Terry Jones, you know, from Monty Python, who was directing it. And she walked in, and there was a few diners in there. It was all very quiet. The first thing she said, she didn't even say hello. She said, "Do you like sex, Julie?" I thought, well, it depends on who it's with. And she said, "No, because you can find a girl who likes sex, you've got gold." Yeah. She sits down, she gets out a whole load of photographs. And the first one, and I mean, really, I'd never seen anything like them in my life. And the first one was this man lying on the floor, covered in some sort of dark matter. I don't know what it was. And she said, "That's my bank manager." And I said, what? He's covered in Hoover dust. That's what he likes. So he would pay to go and see her to be covered in Hoover dust, and that's what. And that was.
But how do you find that out? How do you discover that you get turned on by Hoover dust?
I know. She said to me, she said, "Look, Julie, if you need a cleaner, just ring me up." And I said, "Why? What?" And she said, "Well, because I'll get you a slave. I have slaves, people who come specially to be, you know, beaten and do the cleaning." So she said, "If you want somebody, all you've got to do..." I said, "I don't want to beat somebody." She said, "No, all you've got to do," she said, "is give them a toothbrush, tell them to clean the kitchen floor and kick them up the bum in a pair of high heels." That's what she had, you know.
Wow. There's a story where, you know, because you prepare and prepare and prepare, but there were some things you cannot prepare for. Was it when you went on one night?
I went... There was one night, so I did that show for 8 months, and...
8 shows a week?
8 shows a week.
6 days a week.
Yeah, 8 months. And my character, you know, showbiz mother from hell, and she... I start at the back of the auditorium, and the kids are on stage, and they're starting the show, and I'm immortal, you know, "Sing out, Louise!" And I'd got dressed in the dressing room, dress, coat, hat, and also she has a little dog, a real dog, and I was standing at the back, and my coat was a bit uncomfortable, but I thought, oh, never mind. So I sing, and as soon as I started speaking and walking down the aisle, I thought, there's something in my... There's something... Ah, that's the mouse. There's a mouse walking up my arm on the inside of my coat.
Other part of the play?
No. No. A mouse that obviously... As my coat was lying in the dressing room, it had just crawled into the arm of my coat. Oh, lovely, lovely, snuggly, lovely. And then suddenly, shouty woman put the coat on, shouting, and the mouse... I started walking up my arm, so I'm still going, "Oh, sing out, Louise, come on, okay." Talky, 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 all the way up onto the stage, mousy up here, talky, 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 talky. I start singing, you know, "Some people can get it," mousy, mousy, all that. And then I started doing a lot of
trying to get it to jump out.
If I do that, mouse will fly. Mouse didn't do that. Mouse... in there, and obviously, then at the end of the scene, I came off and said, "Did you know, I had a mouse, I had a mouse?" And someone said, "I saw that mouse, it came down at the back and just ran off." And I love all the people in the company going, "Oh my God, what did you know, I'd have stopped." You can't stop, you just keep going. So,
see, there's a lesson there, Cuba.
Yeah.
A lesson.
Check your trousers, mate.
I go to ridiculous things. I don't think it necessarily is necessary, but I enjoy it. I do
But
enjoy
you
it.
love it.
I love it.
And
I like the...
Were you brilliant at school at research and projects?
Yeah, I was a SWAT.
Shit at it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you've got a friend... Is it a friend of yours who's a psychic?
Oh, God. Ooh. Yeah.
This is my favourite bit.
It's funny how one story comes out and then it obliterates. So it's the defining thing.
In fairness, other actors going, OK.
I want to hear more. I want to hear...
Well, look, yeah, I did meet a psychic who's a friend of mine, and I was seeing her. She's got lots and lots of different strings to her bow, and she does healing, and she does other things. But she also has a talent for mediumship. And as I was seeing her for something else, she said, "Oh, Margaret is here. Does that mean anything?" And I said, "Yes, it does." And I suddenly thought, well, I've got...
This is before you get...
I had been asked to play her. I hadn't actually said yes at that point. And I said, well, yeah, no, actually, if you've got the horse, you know, the horse's mouth, it's in the room. You're not going to say, yes. No, actually, you know. So I said, yeah. And I said, would you mind if I played you? And she said, I prefer you.
What
she
the
said,
answer was?
No, she said, well, no, she did say, I think you're a better idea than the other actor.
Ooh.
The other idea. Well, the other, you know, the other.
Who was the other?
They never told me the other possibility. But whether it was true or not...
But there's the sound of a lone gunshot right now.
No. But it was a very typical Margaret thing in the...
Because you had met her.
I have met her. She had a way... Oh, yeah, a couple of times.
This?
Yeah, you see, you didn't ask. Oh. But She had a way of sometimes complimenting you and putting you down at the same time. She was, and the fact that she said, "Oh, yeah, I think you're better than the other," it was just like you never knew where you were with her. Then she came through with another note, which was useful, whether it was true because the psychic was fantastically intuitive or there really was the ghost of Margaret telling me, I don't know, but the note was good, and it said, "Get the smoking right."
OK.
And I smoked in a particular way, and always remember that the cigarette holder is as much a weapon for expression as anything else. And that was a good note. And she was somebody who was innately dramatic. If you're royal, you can't necessarily talk much. You're a walking icon. You're a walking... So she was very, I think, conscious about the silhouette and whatever she did with her body, and particularly with her hands. And so, you know, anyway. Am I waxing?
No, I love you. I just don't...
You don't believe in talking to dead people?
No.
I didn't... This extraordinary career, and, you know, I mentioned the Oscars in the introduction and things, but Harry Potter, weirdly... But that did sort of change your life in a way.
Well, yes, a lot of very small people kind of used to say hello to me, and that was nice. And it was a whole different lot of people.
Yes, but also so weird that they'd only know you for that one thing, like you'd never existed before.
No, I never had. And except one kid once said to me, he said, were you really a cat? And I heard myself say, just pull yourself together. How could I have been? Anyway.
So there's the Harry Potter bit of your life, which kind of changed your life, but then Downton comes along. Okay. Is that one of those things where you thought you were famous till you were in Downton?
No, I didn't think that at all. It's only since Downton that people seem to know, you know, who stopped me and asked me. But it's only since Downton, and that's television for you.
Yes, it's common.
It's television. But funnily enough, I was in Waitrose in Storrington, my favourite, and a little boy was at the checkout with his mother, and he kept looking at me. And I thought, what am I going to do about it? And he kept looking at me and looking at me. And I said, can I help you? And he said, it's all right, it'll come to me in a minute. I thought it was so sweet. So lovely. It'll come to me. Sweet.
But the people coming up to you now, like, because apparently Americans are very... Well, you know, they're not shy Americans.
No, well, no.
No.
But I don't go anywhere, really, where they can get at me. Because it's usually in museums and art galleries and things, so that limits things. I keep away from there, and Harrods I don't go near.
So are you, in a way, sort of glad that Downton's over?
Oh, yeah. No, I really am. No, because, honestly, she was about... By the time we finished, she must have been 110. So I couldn't go on and on and on. I couldn't. It just didn't make sense.
Alex, I know you're a big Downton fan.
I am. I shout at it a lot.
You haven't seen it?
I do, yeah, we watch it, and we shout at it, because I'm not in it.
Have you ever watched Downton? No.
I've got the box set. So I should watch that.
Because who do you get? You get someone.
Well, I get mistaken for Liam Neeson.
Oh, you do?
He does for me. So I've been complimented on my performance in Taken 2.
Yeah, it's me, I get... You
Anyhow, you're a wonderful educating reader. So much fun.
Do you really get Julie Walters?
Yeah, everyone thinks I'm Julie Walters. Yeah.
Oh, I don't have a picture of Julie Walters.
I do look like Julie.
Well, we've got a Liam Neeson. We've got a Liam Neeson, but I don't think you do look particularly like Liam Neeson. Well,
not bad.
No,
Apparently, they've got one thing in common, those two boys.
Oh.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
Scratch his head, doesn't understand. But does he get confused for you?
Yes, he's been complimented on his English patient.
I am decisive, but I can change my mind.
It's a beautiful thing to go, actually, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It is.
A lot of the time, shockingly.
Well, you know this thing about trans. Now, people always say, oh, you mustn't talk about trans. Well, fuck that. I'm going to talk about it. I was very keen on grammar. And so when people started talking about pronouns and that they wanted them and not he, she, I thought, what the fuck the hell? What are they talking about? It's clear, it's grammar, it's the structure of language. But I met a wonderful actress in Australia, Zoe Tarakis. Do you know? I mean, she's a brilliant actress. Yeah. And she's trans. And she had a discussion with me about it. And she said, what does it matter to you if you can make somebody happy by calling them they instead of he or she? Why not do it? And I thought, that's right. It doesn't matter about grammar. If you can make someone happy and give them a sense of themselves, then do it.
Absolutely.
And so I'm now somebody who uses they and all the rest of it. Whatever they want me to say.
Yes.
I'll say it.
Domhnall Gleeson, I believe it was at an award show where you came face-to-face with your doppelganger.
That's overstating it.
Well, do you know what? I thought it was overstating it, but now as I sit opposite you, I can see it. Go.
In the room, it really makes sense.
Who do you look... I'm trying...
Do you want to guess?
This is crazy. Is it a male or female? Because I'm getting a strong... No, I don't mean this... No, and I don't mean that pejoratively. You kind of remind me of Blanchett from The Profile.
That's where it's Kate Blanchett. Yeah, fair enough.
It is Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Daniel, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing you got it, because I didn't... Because this afternoon, I was like, really, does he? But you do.
Oh, that's weird. I was going to say I loved you in Carol.
Yeah. Now I feel like I'm not Oscar nominated.
No. Just to remind everybody, so there you are.
Yeah.
And now here's Kate. And you can see it.
Wow, you guys should play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a play. My first job was like a Martin McDonagh play when I was 19 years old. And I did it in the West End, and it was a really amazing thing. You're starting to be an actor and be in the world, and oh my God, it's kind of happening. But all my castmates started calling me Kate, because at that time I particularly, obviously, really looked like her. And then I'd be walking down the street and people would stop to tell me that I looked like Kate Blanchett, which was, like, upsetting as a young man trying to make your way in the world. You're like, I'm on the West End, like, Kate, like, fuck off. You know? And then one day I was at the BAFTAs, because I've been to award ceremonies too. Not because I've been nominated, but you know, something I've been in has been nominated. And I went along and I suddenly bumped into her, and there she was, and it was Kate Blanchett, and it was really, really
Did she feel the
staggering.
same way? Did she get a lot of Domhnall Gleesons? Yeah.
All the time. No, she was really... I kept it together really well. I was very proud of myself. I didn't, like, panic. And I didn't say, people say that I look.
Sure.
I just said, you're amazing, and it's very nice to meet you. And I was so happy with myself, because I'm bad meeting famous people who I admire. I said goodbye, and I walked away, and I felt it was amazing. But I walked straight into the women's bathroom. And I was like, oh, shit,
Oh, that's Kate Blanchett.
No, like, oh, that's Tilda Swinton, because that's the other person I get.
Tilda as well?
Yeah, Tilda
No men.
too.
No men.
A young Boris Becker.
I get that.
See, when you're on the couch talking about school days, you think, oh, he's going to go to Daniel Radcliffe and talk about it. But you didn't go to school.
I mean, I went to school.
But very briefly.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I died sort of the first 10 years, and then, well, however long you go to school for. Yeah, I'm not very experienced at it.
Yeah,
but yes, I went to school on set and just wasn't there very much, and it was one of the things I loved about Potter was because it got me
out
away
of
from school.
Did you have to do any exams?
Yes, I went back for exams, which sucked.
So you didn't do exams? You had to go back to an actual school?
To my actual school.
And they must have just hated you when you showed up.
I think so.
Yeah. Harry fucking Potter's back.
Yes, a lot of it. I think I was also probably, you know, prick. I was a 14-year-old teenager, so on some level they were probably being, and I probably was as well. But yeah, it wasn't.
And did they make you go all the way? Do you have to do A-levels and things?
I dropped out. I stopped after AS level, so I stopped at 17.
Oh.
And
you haven't got any A-levels? Sorry. Haven't you got any A-levels?
I've got AS levels if they count.
What does that mean?
They don't.
You do AS when you're 17.
Hey, can I say hi to my daughter Ivy, who's doing her GCSE mock?
It's not a radio show.
We'll all say it. We'll all say it.
Shout-outs.
I promised her. Good luck, Sive.
Good luck. Good luck.
Tweet about that. It's not in. It's never going to be on telly. Yeah. We don't care. Good luck. Good luck to her. I don't actually care. So good luck. Good luck. So, we've got no school photographs of Daniel Radcliffe, and I'm so sorry. I never thought we'd be doing this again. But viewers won't let it go. The Daniel Radcliffe time traveller thing, right? And now, it is bizarre. So there's all the old ones we used to have. I think that was the first one we ever showed.
There's a thing that happens when I come on this show where people sort of dredge the internet and have found photographs of people that look like me throughout time. And it turns out there's a lot of them.
That's quite a good one.
Yes.
That one's uncanny. Some of them, that's rubbish. That's quite... Actually, that is quite good, I suppose.
Yes, that's good.
That's quite good. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, look, there you are as a nun. There you go.
Oh, yeah. I feel like getting less like me and just forward like a person with glasses.
This is still one of my favourites because you look so happy in this one. I think this was when you were time travelling, you hit a really good bit of your life here. There you go. I think you were in love. We've got some new ones.
I look like many other members of my family.
Now, weirdly, we found one of you. I think you're married to Robson Jerome.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you not? That's a bad body of your life. That's a what the?
I take issue with.
Yeah, no, that's nonsense.
But okay.
This one is good. This is again another very, very jolly bit of his life. Daniel's really loving life here. Hello.
That is just.